Hey guys, so I'm going to do a little diversity in comics style video today where I'm going to, shout out to him by the way, he's got a great channel and a great Twitter, but I'm going to drive to work today in my manual car and record a little dialogue today because I've got something that's been on my mind here lately about the whole Marvel thing with the editors and the journalist side and what all's been going on and the frame of mind that I think that these people have. Because, not to dox anybody or name any names, but I have a friend that works as a journalist for SYFY, and that might sound kind of odd, but SYFY has like a whole news side on the internet where they kind of get the news of the latest comics, TV shows, movies, things like that, the nerd side I call it, of things, and they hire these journalists. Well, my friend that works for them lives nowhere near the headquarters, and that kind of shows you what they do as far as hiring journalists. I mean, he can do his entire job online. He never has to go up there, but he does every now and then, like every couple of months, he'll go to the headquarters if they're having like a party or a get-together or something, and they fly him up there because, you know, he's a normal guy like you and me, and he can't just fly to New York constantly for that job. It made it kind of odd to find out he worked for him, you know, in that kind of sense. But anyway, let me set the stage for you as far as who this guy is. He used to work for a local newspaper in my town, and during the Trump election, it got known out in the open that this newspaper was actually very liberal. And you don't know where I live, but my town is very, very conservative. We're in a red state, and that's just the way we are. I mean, it's very conservative. So when it got found out that this newspaper that he worked for was very liberal, I was shocked, but at the same time, it started to make a lot more sense. Because he is very liberal, and it's odd because everyone around us is very conservative. So as you can kind of tell, we get in a lot of arguments, and most of them are on Facebook because he won't talk about it in person to me because, you know, of course he's going to get proved wrong. So he would rather do it on Facebook and do that whole thing where you talk down to someone and kind of act more superior and make fun. See, that's the tactics that these people have when they're having arguments, which goes into something completely different. If you're going to have an argument on social media with these people that are liberals and you're conservative, here are the rules to use. Number one, choose your battles. Choose your battles. Do not go into every argument with them just because they're on social media and they said something stupid. Because guess what? They're going to say a lot of stuff that's stupid. But you need to kind of just be able to take that with a grain of salt and move on. The reason I say that is because you need to know what you're talking about. And if you don't know what you're talking about, you're going to make yourself look really stupid really quick. Because if there's one thing I know about these kind of people, they know one thing, and they know that thing very hard. So they will know one statistic, and they will know everything about that statistic, and there's no need to argue with them about it. What you need to do is, number two, ask them questions. Keep them on the defensive, okay? You need to constantly ask them questions about backing up what they're talking about. Don't go in there trying to make statements because they're just going to turn around and being snide and try to make you feel bad, to make you upset, to where you put you off your game. That's what they do. They're snide and mean people. So what you need to do is just stay on the defensive. Ask them questions. Ask them to back things up. Ask them about it. Now, if they start posting a bunch of statistics stuff like, look at this website, look at this website, look at it, look at all the statistics. Say, no, but what specifically do you not like about it? What specifically do you like? What is your problem specifically on the fact? And I found that to be very good as far as getting in arguments with these people. If I ask them specifically what they like and don't like about it, they can't answer it because they don't know. All they know is what somebody told them on the Washington Post. So if you do that, if you say, well, you know, if somebody comes out and attacks you on Facebook, like you say, you know, well, I really liked the so-and-so article the other day, it was great, blah, 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 and they come out and jump on you, about it, if you'll say, well, what specifically did you not like about it? they can't answer it, and you've already shut them down. I've done that before, and it lasted about 2 conversations on there, and they were out because they had nothing to talk about. They'll start backtracking and say, well, it was all just a joke. It was a joke. Well, it wasn't a joke until you became a joke because I made you a joke. So that's something to think about. Pick your battles. Be on the offense. Be on the offense about it. Ask them questions. So anyway, I was setting the tone before I got off the subject on my rant here. These writers and things in these comic books for Marvel, the headquarters in New York, they hang out in their little groups in New York, and the people in New York are a lot different than some of the other people in the United States as far as the way they think and the way they act. They're not regular people. They're not people of the people. And they sit in their echo chambers in their offices all day talking about Marvel stories and what they can do to change them. They don't think about what they could do to make them better. They just think about, what do I want to put in there because I like it. They're not thinking about, well, what would the fans like for me to do? They're thinking, well, what would I like to do? Because there's 4 or 5 of us sitting in this office together wearing our Power Ranger helmets and our Captain America masks and things like that, holding a Thor's hammer that I got on eBay for $29.99. And they're not thinking about the fan base at all. And it really shows on Twitter, because if you get on Twitter, these are the meanest people I have ever seen. Like, I was kind of put off a little bit when I was talking about it, or talking to these people on Twitter, because they do not care about their fans at all. At all. All they care about is if their 2 or 3 friends in that office meeting like the same thing they like, because they're in their little echo chamber. And I really think if they would start talking to people, the fan base, going to comic book stores outside of their town, talking to the fans, kind of getting some feedback, they would find out real quick that people don't like, sorry, that was my emergency brake. They would find out very quick that these people do not like where they're going with these comics. And they would be able to fix it. But you see, they stay in these echo chambers, just like my friend that works for SYFY, and they only talk to certain people because they get easily offended by anybody that has a different opinion than them, and instead of just listening, they shut them down. And they say, well, my friend Al Gore told me, blah, 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 blah. And then they don't listen to anything, and that's why they're failing. Sci-fi news is about the stupidest thing I've ever read besides Marvel Comics. And it really kind of sets the tone. It makes sense to me now why they're failing, why they're not doing very good. And it's sad, because I remember as a kid watching the Sci-Fi channel when it had that little Saturn logo on the side of the screen. That was one of my favorite channels growing up, when it had that little gray faded logo, and all these different movies would come on, Godzilla, just all these. Don't even get me started about Godzilla. I'm a huge Godzilla fan, by the way. I could do videos on that for days. But I would watch all these movies growing up on the Sci-Fi channel, and now it's completely different. They ran a commercial the other day talking about progress and diversity. I almost threw up in my mouth, and it was like a 5-second commercial. And I looked at my wife, and my wife was just rolling her eyes because she can't stand it when I start talking political. But it's because they throw political in your face all day long on their channels, and then they wonder why they're not selling. I mean, Sci-Fi is canceling a show every other season because they've got these awful progressive shows that nobody likes. And it's the same thing with Marvel. And I think that they could really learn a lot if they just went outside and talked to somebody. Then they would kind of figure out that their fan base is leaving them. Okay? Their fans are going to find something else. That all they've got right now is Sci-Fi and Marvel and DC and things like that, but they're going to find other things. And when something like that comes along, you're in trouble. Okay? Netflix is starting to produce a lot of good shows. Now they're starting to produce a lot of good anime. And, these people are in trouble. So that was just my rant. I was just going to talk about kind of the perspective that it puts in my mind as far as where they're getting these people, how they're hiring them, and what's going into the ideas behind why they're failing. So tell me what you think in the comments. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I hope this was helpful. And just give me your ideas and thoughts about if I'm completely off or if I'm on to something. All right, bye.